welcome back to another Magic the Gathering video. So today I'm going to be showing you how I managed to get top 100 in Mythic rank. So on Sunday I released a video playing Aggro, and that really helped to get me through to through Diamond rank. And then just to get that final push towards Mythic rank, I switched and I started using this mono red deck, and honestly it was insane. So for the past 5 or 6 days I've been playing in top 300 Mythic. Actually, I've managed to get to rank 74. That's the best I've done, and I'm currently sitting at about rank 150. So this video will be showing you guys how you can get to top 100 in Magic the Gathering Arena, considering I have done it with this deck a couple of times now. But before I go into explaining this deck and how you guys can easily get yourself into the top 1000 MTG Arena players and qualify yourself for the Mythic Championship qualifier, so you've got a chance to get £7,500 at a minimum if you qualify for that, I'm just going to ask you guys if you can please subscribe, leave a like, comment. It means so much to me. I'm going to be releasing a lot more videos over the next week or two I'm going to be doing Jeskai Fires, Team of Reclamation, I'm going to be doing Azorius Control, all of the really good meta decks at the moment. So whatever deck you guys are running, if it's one of the bigger, more competitive decks, then I'll show you guys the best way to be playing that to maximize your wins. Now, with that being said, let's get on to explaining the deck I'm using currently. So this is Mono Red Aggro. I couldn't use the name because I've already got another Mono Red Aggro deck that I've used previously. So I've called it Mono Red. Now, to start with, we've got the small 1-drops, the Fervent Champion and Scorch Spitter. Scorch Spitter is a great attacker. It's a great early play. So you play this turn 1, then turn 2 you play Fervent Champion. You don't want to do it the other way around. It maximizes damage if you play Scorch Spitter before you play Fervent Champion, because if you play Fervent Champion and Scorch Spitter, so Fervent Champion turn 1, Scorch Spitter turn 2, you will get 2 points of damage by the end of your second turn. Whereas if you play Scorch Spitter first, you'll get 3 damage. So it's just kind of about maximizing damage for yourselves. Then we have Shock. It's just quite nice. It's quite a nice burn spell. Just 1 mana, kills a lot of the early threats that people can place to allow your smaller creatures to get through. And also later on into the game, when you've got things like Torbran, it can be a bigger threat to their life total, just to help them finish them off. Then we have Rimrock Knight. This is a really good card in the deck. The adventure ability with Embercleave, that will give you an extra 4 points of damage, because obviously it's doubled because of double strike, and then it's just a 2 mana 3/1 body, which is just very nice with Embercleave as well. It's just a very solid, very good card within the deck. Then we have Runaway Steamkin. Now, this is a staple to all mono red decks, and I think it always will be while it's in standard. But to me, sometimes it can be a bit slow. So I was at one point umming and ahhing about taking it out. I know, I mean, shocker. But I've decided to keep it in, just because when it does work and you do get to do the Rimrock Knight ability and Shock and just play some 1-drop spells to be able to annex and play 3 other spells on your 4th turn, that just can be just game winning. Then we have Anax. I mean, this is the all-star of the deck. 3 mana, 0/3. Its power is equal to your devotion, so it comes in as a 2/3 anyway. You have 2 other creatures, say a Fervent Champion and a Rimrock Knight, it's a 4/3. So you've already paid 3 mana for a 4/3. Now, when Anax or another creature dies, you create a 1/1 red satyr, and if the creature has power 4 or greater, you create 2 of them. Now, the reason that's very relevant within standard at the moment is because of the prevalence of board wipes such as Shatter the Skies and Deafening Clarion, and also Storm's Wrath in the Team of Reclamation deck. So those are the removal spells from both Azorius, Teamer, and also Jeskai Fires. So all of these decks are decks which you will come up against in the Mythic rank, Mythic ladder. You don't get many like other kind of decks within it. There are a few people who play their quite cool decks, but on the whole it's generally just a lot of meta decks. The other good thing with Anax, while we're here, is with Embercleave, it pumps its power up by 2, and you get an extra, it pluses again. So if you have Anax and you put Embercleave on it, it pretty much always wins you the game, unless you've got exile removal or whatever, but usually Anax plus Embercleave equals win. So that's like the dream combo that you kind of want to achieve with this deck. Then we have Bonecrusher Giant. Adventure ability, 2 damage, an extra mana Shock, but because it comes along with 3 mana 4/3 spell, there's just a lot more value to it. It just makes it a very, very good card within the deck. Also, as it's got 4 power, if you have Annex out and they board wipe, you get 2 1/1s out of it. Obviously not a game breaking thing, but it's just nice to be able to recognise that. Then we have Phoenix of Ash. Now, some mono red lists do not play Phoenix of Ash. I really like it because, like I said, with board wipes, it makes it really good because you could just bring it back as a 3/3 with haste. Also, it has flying, so it gets along over a lot of the ground creatures. And thirdly, the thing which I love about it is if you get Embercleave on it, you can basically pay 3 mana to increase the damage by 4. What is there to not like about that? Then we have Tibalt. Now, this is kind of a weird inclusion to the deck that most other people don't do. However, when I was thinking about what other meta decks there are, so what do we have? We have Temur Reclamation. So that uses Oro and Hydroid Krasis most of the time, so that's life gain. Having Tibalt, shutting that off, also creating the 1/1 Red Devils as attackers is really nice. Against Mono Red, Tibalt is really good. You get 1/1 Red Devils and it kills their Devils. Also, some players see a Planeswalker and like, oh my god, I must attack it, so it prevents combat damage that would be sent to you. There are other decks as well, such as Azorius Control. Tibalt is good against that. Any kind of Simic build, Tibalt is good against that because it shuts off a life gain. Against Rakdos Aristocrats, Tibalt is good because the 1/1 red creatures can kill some of their creatures, and also it stops them from being able to gain life from a cat. Against Jund Sacrifices is really good because they get a lot of value out of cats and foods for gaining life, so it shuts all of that off. And it's just very good in every matchup. Usually this would be a sideboard card. However, I think, but considering I'd be sideboarding it in against most meta decks, I mean, even against things like Jeskai Fires, they've got Deafening Clarion and good old King Kenrith to gain them life, so this will come basically every deck in Standard at the moment. You would bring Tibalt in, so just why not play it in your main board? Make your game 1 against them a little bit better. Then we have Torbran. So if a red source would deal damage, deals that much damage +2. With Embercleave, that's just really good. And also with just your smaller creatures, if you just flood the board and just swing in with everything, Torbran can lead. If they board wipe and then you Torbran, once you've got the Annex, you've got a board full of 1/1s, you swing with everything, you win. Also, the good thing with Torbran is it's got 3 devotion. Now, in most decks that wouldn't matter, but because we have Annex, that'll buff his power up by 3. So if we have Embercleave on the Annex, it would be buffing the power by 6, and then an extra 2 power on top of that from Torbran's ability. So obviously it's a bit of a niche thing to happen, however when it does it's just nice to know about it. Now I play 20 lands in a deck, most of the time I'll hit all my land drops, sometimes I'll have to mulligan to 6, maybe even 5, but usually my 7 card hand, hopefully it doesn't have 7 lands, will be enough to win the game. Castle Embereth is obviously really nice, just buffing my whole board. Helps even more with Embercleave. Into the sideboard we go then. So I play 3 Red Cat melee. Now that's really good in the mirror. Not a whole lot else. Maybe Rakdos Sacrifice as well. However, just because this kills a Torbran, I really like it, and it's just a better shock in this matchup. Because in the mirror that is, because they've all got red creatures, so there's no downside to playing it. Then we've got Scorching Dragonfire, Exiles. That is really good, nice against Anax, Mayhem Devil, the lands off of Nissa. I'm not sure I would board this in against a Nissa deck though. And just general Rakdos Sacrifice, this can be really good against. It can be really good against things like the Dreadhorde Butcher, just to get the Exile so it doesn't get the trigger, and just a lot of other creatures. Also, if you use this on the cat, it goes for good, so you've got to think of that. Then we have Unchained Berserker. This is good against all white decks, so you board it in against Azorius Control, Jeskai Fires, and any deck which plays just white creatures which could block. Because it gets +2/+0, it's kind of as good as a Rimrock Knight in that regard. Just a very, very good card for the deck. And also, how could I forget, mono white life gain. Now, it's not a very prevalent deck, but when you play against it, you want to have this card, because this would also act as a blocker against white. So you leave this up, they can't swing in because it won't deal damage, but the Unchained Berserker will deal damage to that, if you know what I mean. Then we've got a final copy of Tibalt, just in case I'm in a matchup where I need an extra one to survive. In mono red, I wouldn't put it in, however, in a very life gain heavy deck, I would. Then I've got Experiment of Frenzy. Now, to generalize when I would bring this in, I bring it in against blue. Anytime in which they're playing a bluer, kind of more control-y more mid-range deck, I'll bring this in, because later on into the game, if I get this can be key for me to win the game, because the thing with mono red is it can burn out really fast. So if I don't beat them early on into the game, I'm going to need something to allow me to keep up that pressure later on and just get those wins. So with that being said, let's get into some Mythic tier games. Into this first game of the video then, we're playing first. This is a really nice hand for us. Fervent Champion turn 2, turn 1, turn 2 Steamkin, turn 3. Well, we'll have to see what I draw as to whether I play the Steamkin or the Anax. It depends what we're playing against actually, because if we're playing against a more a deck which is likely to have a board wipe against us, I'll play the Anax. However, if we're just going to play to try and be a bit more aggressive, I'll play the Steamkin. Fervent Champion coming in, 1 point of damage, 1 point of damage next turn. Right, so the way we play this here is what we do is we play our land, then we go to combat, then we're swinging with the Fervent Champion. So that just threatens having a blocker. Obviously we've got enough to kill the goose, but we have to threaten. Next turn I will play Anax. Because we're playing against a slower deck, I'm just going to want to go in and try and get as much damage as possible. And it also gives us some free power on Runaway Steamkin if we manage to draw a land. Alright. He blocks a Fervent Champion. Also, we've got the 4th power on Anax now, so if he does want to board wipe us, he's got the guild to do so. So I think that's quite good for us here. And tap, sacrifices that, and he's only got 1 mana left up, so. So here what I think I will do is I'll play my Steamkin. It buffs up the buffs up my devotion on my Anax. Okay, so I'll take it again. I get in for 10 points of damage. I'll get 5 tokens next turn if he board wipes us. Okay, Elspeth. Now I like that here for us. He Elspeths our Anax. Then what I do this turn. Okay, so if we think about it, currently I've got 4. Let's just stomp him. Counter. Now currently I'm swinging for 6, 7. So if I play Steamkin here, I get the extra counter on one of the Steamkin, and now I'm swinging for 8. So we have gained 1 hit. Seems like it's banned. Well, it is banned. I'm not quite sure what. Maybe just banned good stuff. I don't think it's a reclamation deck, but because it's... We've also got white, so... Do I bring an Unchanged Berserker? I think Bone Crusher Giant's a little slow. I want to take out a shock as well. Then maybe also drop down on Phoenix of Ash. Actually, Phoenix of Ash can be very good in this matchup. I'll drop down on 1 day. Now, what white creatures can he have? That's the question. He can have a Teferi, so this could be free from Teferi. We might as well. Rimrock Knight. Drop down on 2 Rimrock Knights to play this. Drop down on a Bone Crusher, and we'll also drop down. Let's only put 3 in. Let's not go too over the top with it. I feel like this gives us the best chance of being able to win this game. We are playing against a 390 version of the world, so I mean, he is a good matchup player. I just think this matchup is very favoured for us. Okay, we keep this turn 1 Fervent Champion into turn 2 Unchained Berserker. Does he bottom this? He tops it. Okay. It's good for him. So this turn I Pirate Champion. Then next turn I King Berserker. Then the turn after I will Phoenix Ash. Next turn it might be better for me to just stomp the Gilded Goose. It might be that he's running lower on mana. It's wicked. Right, here it's just going to be a case of me just actually kill the Wicked Wolf. It's a really good blocker against us, and I feel that we can take a turn off and get damage in. So next turn I'll go for Giant, which will allow us to be able to... Actually, let's think about this. Next turn if I play Phoenix of Ash, I'll swing for 3. Okay, so it's got 4 mana up. Yeah, I think Phoenix of Ash is to play here. Then next turn I will... Okay, so you get some stuff. It might be best for me to stomp the Gilded Goose. Do we see an Elspeth coming down here? It's quite possible. If we see an Elspeth, what I'll do is I'll shock the Gilded Goose.
In this land, we are all
going
connected.
to do some shaking.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
This is a difficult one for us. Take both of them. Then go in for 2 in the air. Yeah, I don't think we go for Nissa at this point. Then next turn we have to yeah, actually no we don't. Next turn what we'll do is we'll just swing with everything. He's only going to have 15 points of damage over the next few turns, so he did have to freeze my top 6.
Behold, nature's true power.
We will not block. Then next turn we'll go in for Anax. Everyone loves Anax, right? Am I right, guys? So basically what this means is we'll double block that. To get our creature count up. Dust. Do I put it to my top? The thing is, how much do I want Tall Brown on the battlefield? I think I take the action. Okay. So yeah, that finishes us off. So let's go into game numero... whatever number it is. And Bone Crusher Giant isn't so good in this matchup. So we have Phoenix of Ash. And let's also add another... Let's just go full... Tibble. He's playing some life gain, but not enough for me to have 3 of them, I don't think. I think this gives us the best chance of winning this game. We are on the play, so... gives us a good shot. We like to play with this deck and play first. Okay, this seems like a good hand. Scorched Bitter into Unchained Berserker into Anax. Then the next turn we'll be able to cast Lembra. So I like it with this deck when I am able to play out my hand how I would want. Okay, I mean, he'll that won't get damage it. Then next turn. So here I'll annex before. So I'm going to annex here. That's great if I hadn't concussed. I could have been able to base it. Okay, send me down to 15. Now, next turn, hopefully I see a an Oro here. Then I just play out Unchained Berserker, Scorched Bitter, and we're living good. No, I'm the cleave. This way, if next turn he kind of has to block my Anax here, or else he takes 7 points of damage. It's between Scorched Bitter and Anax. But I think so. He can't do Tolsimir next turn. He can do Oro. This is if he has 4 mana. He can board wipe, however, I think that's a little bit too... I don't think that's enough. He can Ether Gust my Anax. Yeah, no, he's just going to choose... He gets a board wipe. We die. However, this turn we can pump cast Lembrath and swing of everything. I don't think he has a way to play a board wipe, otherwise he would play it. We just need 5 creatures to get through without Scorched Bitter damage included, so if he Auros he goes up to 13. And I mean, if he Auros we win. The chance of this guy winning at this point is very slim. So that's game. Oh boys, there we go, and we have won our game today. So I will only be playing we'll only be playing 1 game just because I don't want to do too much with this deck. I'm just kind of chilling just to make sure that I'm staying in Mythic by the end of the season so I could do the qualifier for you guys. So just a shorter video for you guys today, not like my last couple of 50-minute epics that I've done. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. If you have enjoyed and you actually are going to be able to use this deck to get to Mythic rank yourselves, then please just subscribe, leave a like, comment. It means so much to me. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of March. So just if you would subscribe, it makes such a big difference to me. And with that being said, have a great day. Goodbye.